You are live. Okay. But sound to check for you. Lesson. Lesson. OBS at silent. Hello. Let's done. Showing on camera. Done. Okay, done. Achha. So let us start. It's 8:04 already. Okay, we are 4 minutes late. But hello, hi, and welcome to Sandpaper-Academy for Civil Services, where we specialize in Apsc Cce. So Apsc Cce means hoi gol 26, 27, and 28. So aji joakali pora ami start korisu our paper analysis. So joakali ami GS1 or analysis korilu, and today we are going to analyze GS2. So eta bostu bahut ami notice korisu ki bahut student e amake to koise ki this time the paper was very analytical. Right na? Analytical mane ki? Analytical mane apunak jodi agote hude APSC e A B C D mane ki? Ebar hudise A B C D use kori eta sentence likha. It's okay, don't stop and should we start again? Sorry for the interruption. There was something wrong with the camera, so we'll start again. So hello, hi, and welcome to Sandpaper. So we will just start the analysis again. So what was I saying? Je agote jetia APSC e A B C D mane ki hude. Ebar hudise A B C D use kori pele eta sentence likha. Yes, ABCD to ami pohisu. Amak jodi ABCD ki hoy boli hude ami ABCD likhibo parisu. Kintu ABCD jodi ami buji poa nai ki A to kihot use hoy, B to kihot use hoy, ami sentence likhibole examot nuaribo paru. Aru hetue amar bahut hokol student e problem face korile je Lakhpati Didi ki hoy hetu to bujile. What is Lakhpati Didi we understood. Kintu Lakhpati Didi's utilization ki hoy in the lives of the beneficiaries. Hetu hudi diute amar kobat bostu to tough lagi gol. So here in Sandpaper, like I always keep saying, that we try to make you understand the things behind it. Aru apunalokor eta thought pattern ami develop korbo try korim so that future ketia eta analytical question paper ahe apuni jate tough feel no kore. So let's start with the analysis. This is question number 1. Question number 1 or ama khudisile discuss how the Lakhpati Didi scheme aligns with the broader mission of poverty alleviation and socio-economic empowerment of women. So amar poverty alleviation and socio-economic empowerment of the women to hai main question kintu. Discuss the Lakhpati Didi scheme to main question hoy, but that is not exactly what the question is asking. So ami Lakhpati Didi scheme or bikhoy likhilu, eto to ami gome pao Lakhpati Didi scheme ki hoy, ki kotha, ki paisa dia jabo, what is the ambition of the government. But how is it exactly going to help the women, the beneficiaries who are going to be directly affected by the Lakhpati Didi scheme? So yat ami ki likhibo lagisile? Yat ami likhibo lagisile ki sarkare je e 35,000 rupees to dia kotha ase. He 35,000 rupees to amar women khiniye keneke use koribo. How will they use it? They will use it to have financial independence. Why not? They will use to have financial independence. They will use to have social independence. Social independence mane ki? Jetia financial independence ahi jabo mohila egorakir, tetia hole by the by teor eta nijor family hok, society hok eta say ahi jay. So that is the women empowerment that the government is talking about. Okol paisa hatot ahile eku nuhua nohoy. Paisa hatot ahar loge loge kali domestic violence victim hole they can take their own lives in their hand. Kali jodi nijor children thake, nijor kids thake, teolukor health, teolukor welfare, kiba tuition etake extra dibo pari, kiba khua eta bhal kinibo pari, which affects the whole health of the family. So hebur bostu ami likhibo paribo lagisile aru ami akha korisu ki manu hokole likhi student hokole likhise. So the scheme will be helping women to be financially independent, helping women to be wise in using their own monetary independence, and give freedom of choice, both social and economic. And development by itself means giving more choices to an individual. Development mane ki? What is development? Development is not only যে ঘর ভাল হল, গাড়ি ভাল হল, আর মোৰ life standard ভাল হল. Development is only not that. Development is getting choices in life. Getting choices in life. যদি ঘর ভাল হয়, থাকা ভাল হয়, খোৱা ভাল হয়, কিন্তু then you don't have a social life. Your family is not right to you. Your husband is not treating you well. তেতিয়াহলে কি ফায়দা হলি ডেভেলপমেন্টৰ? So development is multifaceted. Development does not only mean economic, it also means social. যোনটো আমি এই লাখপতি দিদিৰ কনসেপ্টত লিখিব পাৰিব লাগিছিলে। এটো লগতে আমি পলিটিক্যাল ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্সৰ কথাও ইয়াত লিখিব পাৰো। কি যেতিয়া সোশ্যাল ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্স আহে, যেতিয়া ফাইনান্সিয়াল ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্স আহে, women এগৰাকী অটোমেটিক্যালি ওয়াইজ হৈ যায়, তেওঁ নিজৰ পলিটিক্যাল ডিসিশন লবলৈ হেল্প হয়। So all these multifaceted things had to be included when the question asked how Lakhpati Didi actually helped in empowerment of women. So মই আশা কৰিছো কি আপোনালোকে এইখিনি ডিমেনশন লিখিছে। যদি আপুনি ইকোনমিক, সোশ্যাল বা পলিটিক্যাল তিনিটা অ্যাঙ্গেল লিখাও নাই, যদি আপনি দুটা অ্যাঙ্গেলও লিখিছে, I think you will get safely a 5 out of 10. Okay? So this is how we are going to analyze যে এই লাখপতি দিদি সক আজি লাখপতি দিদি হুদিছে, কালি বেলেগ হুদিব। সো আপোনালোকে যেতিয়া এটা স্কিম চাই লয়, স্কিমটোৰ লগে লগে আপুনি নিজকে বেনিফিচিয়াৰী বুলি ইমাজিন কৰি ল'ব কি মই বেনিফিচিয়াৰী, মোৰ হাতত আই এম আ ৰুৰাল সেলফ হেল্প গ্ৰুপ বেনিফিচিয়াৰী। এই সেলফ হেল্প গ্ৰুপ বেনিফিচিয়াৰী হৈ পেলাই মই আজি মাই গভৰ্নমেন্ট হেজ গিভেন মি এক্স এমাউন্ট অফ মানি এণ্ড হাউ এম আই গোইং টু ইউজ দিছ এক্স এমাউন্ট অফ মানি। আপুনি যে নিজকে বেনিফিচিয়াৰী বুলি ভাবি ল'ব, দিছ কুৱেশ্যন ৱাজ ভেৰি ইজি ফৰ ইউ। Okay? So I hope you understood what was supposed to be written. Let's go to the next question. Here I have already written that by securing and protecting a social order, by ensuring social, economic and political justice and minimizing inequality in income, status, facility and opportunities. Okay. Now we go for question number 2. So question number 2 Hudi said the social value of COVID-19 vaccine exceeds its market value. So jete ami market value boli ko, market value to again a economic concept. Hoy na? Market value is a economic concept. But COVID-19 vaccine was much more than an economic attribute to us. Hetu bostu hudise question, a very intelligent question, very impressed by APSC this time. So question to soa lage lage ami imagine korilu bole ami covid time le gori jabo laibo ki COVID-19 vaccine time ki hoisile, COVID-19 vaccine kane hahakar hoisile sob phale, everybody was looking for COVID-19 vaccine. Then fortunately our India could create the COVID-19 vaccine. That's why our phase wise vaccination dia goisile, manu vaccine loisile, prothome elderly citizen e loisile, tasot comorbidity thaka hokole loisile, women and children loisile, tar pisot ami adult who are in youth and who are in working teoloke loisile. So phase wise loi pelai we had a very very organized way of providing immunity to the society. So hetu angle pa first we will have to start. আমি ধৰক we will write an intro something about it আৰু কিবা লিখিলো আমি XYZ intro কি COVID-19 ভ্যাকচিনৰ কিমান ইম্পৰ্টেন্স আছিল আৰু আমি কিমান বিচাৰি ফুৰিছিল, অকল আমিয়ে নহয়, the whole world was looking at each other for a COVID-19 vaccine, and in that demand for a COVID-19 vaccine, India could produce its own, and this was a very big blessing for everyone around the globe. So hetu koi pelai ami intro di agbarhi goi pelai we will write a little bit about COVID-19 vaccine in the situation of COVID. Into the main point, the critically analyzed part is this. It was not about economics at all. Hetu apne likhibole koa nai, moi yat bujabole likhisu. The value of COVID-19 vaccine was more socially and psychologically rather than economically seen. The vaccine provided immediate solution to the situation in hand, where people were scared of not getting their own lives back. So amada psychological hoka hisile at that time. Ami bhabisilo ami ketia nijor own life ot ghuri na jao, ami hodai we will have to be scared of public places, ami crowd ole jabole bhoy khabo lagibo, ami bhabisilo ki ami ketio cinema sabo jabo noaro, ketio park ole furibo jabo noaro. But that fear of having an own life not having back was given back to us through COVID-19 vaccine. The whole society was given immunity in phases, starting from senior citizen to pregnant and lactating mothers to the working age population. The ones with comorbidities were also given preference. This reflected the strong welfareist attitude of the government and the society, which in turn reflects the faith of the people. Tarmane amar government je welfare state, India is a welfare state. This was very easily reflected by the way in which COVID-19 vaccine was actually exercised in the society. Here, all senior citizens are protham dise. Here, amag youth junkini asile teolokok protham dia nai. Government junkini frontline workers ase teolokok protham disile. Here, because government was balancing the welfare attitude and also the efficiency that it required to maintain in its governance. So, a bostutoe ki reflect kore? A bostutoe reflect kore ki India as a state is a welfare state. Our strong welfareist attitude to ami show koribo paribo. And the society, which in turn reflects the faith of the people. Tar mane jetia ama government declare korise je ami prothome like senior citizen of dim tarsot comorbidity dim tarsot amar eya eneke ami to gobla that we have not protested ki nohobo senior citizen of prothome kiyo dise prothome amak dibole. We have not done that. Why? Because we have faith. Because we have faith on our government. Because we have faith on our government. Our faith on the government is sign of a stable political society. Stable political society. Ami korba code goi palo dekhile ne? We were in COVID-19 vaccine, but we reached where? We reached to a stable political society. This is the power of analysis. This is how you are going to analyze. कि आमे की हुडी से आमे कोलोय गए सो. Question अभी पूरा नहीं हुआ है. Picture अभी बाकी है. So a bostu to ama ki show kore that we are a very strong welfareist society with a very stable political base. Next, this gave India a global stature as a pioneer in medicine making, boosting its Vishwaguru status. So India was one of the first countries, the first country one of the first country who could actually produce a COVID-19 vaccine and it also exported. So what did it show? It showed global power. It showed global power. Ami he bonaisu. Belege to bonwa nasile hetu time bonaise kunbai. All everyone in the globe to bonwa nasile. So one of the very special category of special category of country who could provide a solution to the COVID-19 scare that was going around the world. Is it not a feather on the cap of India? Feather on the cap means get a prize, get a medal. So what did it do? It boosted the Vishwaguru status. Vishwaguru, what a question is it, sir? So what did it do? It reflected our strong welfareist attitude. Our society is stable, politically we are stable. It gave us a psychological at a boost. They will be going back to our own life, and we had a boost to our Vishwaguru status as well. So was it any of it economic? No. None of the solution that we analyzed here were economic. So this was what you are supposed to write. This is a tricky question. This is a tricky question. Bhabi bole olop somoy lage, but ma akha korisu ki you have thought in these lines. Etu nohoy ki egita he dimension ase, takke aru dimension thakibo pare. But I hope je apunar angle to thiki ase bhabar, because a angle ot bhabi gole apni multitude of answer ulabo parileten, and easily you would have gotten a good answer. But this was a tough question that I have to say. All right. So let's move ahead. Okay. This is one question and also another question that I have. Etu moi olopan easy boli bhabu. So hekane what I am going to do, I will tell at the end of the session. The question number 3, aru eta question ase, I am going to give an exercise to you guys. So let's make it interactive. Akol moi koi thakim apnaloke khuni thakibo heneke hole the whole purpose of teaching might not reach its 100% efficiency. So we will not see about question number 3 right now, but that will be exercise for you. End of the live session, I will tell you. Let's move ahead. Question number 4 and question number 13. More or less, duita almost eke context ote ahise. The context of both the questions were same. Duita amar diaspora effect to hudise in a different angle and different language. Question number 4 hudise, the Indian diaspora acts as a catalyst for economic growth and cultural exchange, but its potential remain largely untapped. Explore the emerging trends and innovative approaches in leveraging the Indian diaspora. Okay, understood? So, yeah, thodi se ami Indian diaspora aru effectively keneke Aru effectively, how can we, extract their potential? Extract might not be a correct word. At this moment, my mind is and question number 13 not ki hudise aru etu light in the light of the schemes ene hawat nohoy scheme gita kotha kobo lagibo. So question number 13 not hudise examine the impact of developed countries immigration policies on India's skill force and diaspora communities, analyze how visa regulation and skilled immigration program affect India's brain drain. So yeah, duta hudise upor hudise amar Indian diaspora to ami itia thaka scheme milakere keneke we will be able to take more in. Aru ei question to hudise ki ei je Canada hok US hok suddenly je amar enemy hoy gol, enemy is a strong word, suddenly amar beya po hoy gol, kothai kothai visa change kori thake, visa regulation change hoy thake, people amar jun hokol manu tat ase they are always scared ki itia ki change koribo, itia ki change koribo, hey change koratu amar brain drain or diaspora engagement to ki dhorone effect kore. That is being asked by question number 4 and question number 13. So I hope that you language to change korise kintu yat moi for the sake of time management duita ekeloge apnalokok bujai disu. So ami introduction of ki likhibo parisilu, we should have written what is Indian diaspora at the first. Indian diaspora ki hame jano or pravasi Bharat and Indian diaspora, people who live outside are Indian diaspora. It is better if you have defined Indian diaspora. The Indian diaspora duta category is NRIs and overseas citizen of India. I do not expect you ki Japani 182 days and more and 365 iman monot rakhibo parise. I do not expect that. Jodi parise 200% you are going to get more than 6, maybe 6 by 6.5 apni pabo pare. But ami ideal situation etu likhibo paribo lagisile. Amar NRI kun hoy, overseas citizen of India ki hoy, and dujon milai pele we have our Indian diaspora. Okay, so ami introduction at nijor Indian diaspora kotha koi dilu. In question number 4 amak hudisile ki ami nijor itia current junbur amar heri ase scheme ase he scheme to ami nijor Indian diaspora keneke how are we able to, how can we take more knowledge inside it. Okay, knowledge boli moi hobdare koisu, but how can we engage the maximum with them economically and have an innovative solution out of it. So yat jodi ami agbahi jao, ebu all I have written about OCI. Itia ebu to factual question will not go inside it. But the schemes that exist for Indian diaspora are eta to hoy Pravasi Bharat Divas and Pravasi Bharatiya Samman, which is an award and a day. This is an award and this is a day. Do write in the comment section when is Pravasi Bharatiya Divas and why do we celebrate it. Okay? So that is also an analytical bend of thing. That is not enough for APSC. You will have to understand why do we have Pravasi Bharatiya Divas on that specific day. Okay? So golu agole. So tat koise this is one scheme that we have. Second scheme we have Prime Minister's Global Advisory Council for Overseas Indian to draw upon the experience and knowledge of eminent people. It is very important. Very important. There we have a scheme named Prime Minister's Global Advisory Council for Overseas Citizens to draw upon the experience and knowledge of eminent people of Indian origin. I mean, amar je CEO hokol ase, belek organization we sometimes feel very proud ki amukor CEO amar hoy, amuk amar hoy. But teolukor juntu knowledge ase. What merit they have, technology, know-how they have. In order to bring that to us, this is one of the schemes. Kenuko aroda scheme ase ami tolat pohim. Our overseas citizen of India citizenship scheme, overseas worker resource, senebu both factual question hoy. This is not exactly what we are going to see. Tolat jodi ami jao. We have a very important scheme junto maximum manual monot thakibo lagisile, that is Global Indian Network of Knowledge. That is Global Indian Network of Knowledge. Ami etu bahut recently amar current affairs ot kafi ahi asile. The enlargement of the Global Indian Network of Knowledge called Global INK, this electronic platform will enable us to draw upon the reservoir of knowledge, expertise and skills that the overseas Indian community possess to catalyze the social development effort of India. Ekhini ami koribo lagisile expand. How? Using platforms like Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. Using platforms like Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, and awards, initiatives like Global Indian Network of Knowledge, frequent visits by the highest officers, and facilitation of voting of Indian citizens who are outside is not only strengthening the ties with the country but also making them encouraged to have economic associations with us and exchange of knowledge and know-how, etc. তাৰ মানে এই প্ৰবাসী ভাৰতীয় দিৱস যেতিয়া আমি সেলিব্ৰেট কৰি আছো, they are feeling special. It is bringing us a platform where তেওঁলোকে আৰু আমি মিলি পেলাই এটা প্লেটফৰ্ম পাইছো where there is an exchange of idea, exchange of knowledge. আৰু আমি কি কৰিছো, আমি award দিছো, তেওঁলোকক সন্মান কৰিছো. Again they are feeling special that they are part of the country which is giving them so much of respect. আমি দেখিছে আমাৰ highest officers, our honorable prime minister, our honorable foreign minister, they frequently go to country, they meet people, they talk, and our diaspora logot agically frequent interaction. Apuni America to dekha to monade ase second that we went there and we talked with the whole diaspora and everyone chanted our names. Ebu to hoisile, I think you remember. So hebur bosta ki facilitate korile, eta bosta facilitate korile hiyotor majot a sense of pride that they are Indian. যেতিয়া pride facilitate কৰিলে automatically they want to share that pride with us and there will be an exchange of ideas, exchange of knowledge, technology যোনটো আমাৰ বহুত ডাৰ্ট হয় সব পাই যাও আমি টেকনলজি নাপাও idea, knowledge, technology, money in the form of investment, which is the economic association that I'm talking about. যে আমাৰ যদি খুব ধনী কোনবা diaspora মানুহ আছে and they want to invest something in our country, কেনেকে আমি ফেসিলিটেট কৰিম বেয়া পোৱা মানুহক তো আমি কেতিয়াও we will not invest in their business, we will only invest in people we like. And how are we making them like us? We are making them like us through these things. আৰু এইটোৱে question to সুধিছিলে কি এই latest scheme বোৰ যে আছে, in the light of the latest scheme, how are we facilitating the economic associations? এইটোৱে আমাক সুধিছিলে in the question. So I hope you have written one all of the schemes you will remember, but Global INK, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, Pravati Bharatiya Samman, ebilak to minimum I think you have written, but tarpora analytically apuni tani pela kobo lagibo ki how that platform has boosted a pride inside the people, how they want to associate themselves to their roots, know their roots. Bulu eta scheme I have not written it here. So they are very proud of their roots. They want to, like, you know, hey, pride to share karba bisare. There is an idea exchange, technological exchange, economic boost. They are doing more trade with us. They are trying to put investment in our business, so on and so forth. And this is how we are going to facilitate a more progressive ties with our diaspora. So to hold question number 4. Hey, uporokhini logote we will add question number 13. Question number 13 or thudisile যে আমাৰ যে ভিসা ৰেগুলেশন বোৰ চেঞ্জ হৈ আছে হেতু আমাৰ ব্ৰেইন ড্ৰেইন টু কেনেকে এফেক্ট কৰে সো প্ৰথম কথা ভিসা ৰেগুলেশন টু এনে চেঞ্জ নহয় কিবা এটা হৈছে there must be a background to it, there must be a background to our visa change হয় না এই ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ড টু জেনারেলি গুড স্টোরি নহয় generally it's not a good story. যেনেকে Canada recently আমাক বেয়া বলে whatever may the reason, there is a miscommunication, whatever it is, but amar jun hokol diaspora tat ase, it obviously created a sense of insecurity inside their mind. Jadi kali moi eta bideshot asu aru mur country tok mur he juntu dekhot moi asu he country te mur nijor dekhok beya paise mur monot to bhoy eta lagibo no ki mur logot ki hobo etia because moi to bideshot asu rule bur change kori dibo niki kali mu kobo niki moi at thakibo noaru moi nijor ghor sor uthai pela keneke gusi jam he question to amak yat hudise ki visa regulation to e Indian brain drain aru bahe thaka diaspora khinik keneke affect kori. So what we have written here je the visa regulation would be a deterrent to the brain drain of India. Amar bahut manu itia bahirole goise kintu bahut manu ita bahirleki jabole beao poa hoise. If you have friends in Bangalore, if you have friends in Mumbai, if you have friends in Hyderabad, yaar ajipa almost 2-3 years ago juntu eta craze asile je we need to go outside bahirot eta bhal the brain drain that was happening in such an extensive level iti alopman tar eta back wave ahise naha nohoy. Even we have YouTube channels where people are showing how they are coming back to their nation. Are coming back to their nation, not going outside is a deterrent to brain drain. Brain drain mane ki to gome pae, I will not explain it here. So the visa regulations would be a deterrent to the brain drain of India. Meritorious minds would choose to stay in their own country, helping its own economy, which is a good news for us. But The know-how which aids in other countries' economy stays here, which can be good nationally if we can use them, but might not be beneficial for the individual's wishes. So yate eta we will have to keep a balanced perspective. Hekane etu eta 15 marker asile. This was a very tricky question. What is your stance? Apuni ki bhabise? Jodi apuni nationally bhabi likhibo khuje, then you will have to write it will be a deterrent to brain drain, it will be good, amar kane technology to thaki jabo, the meritorious mind june necessity face kori pela teoloke invention koribo, he invention to amar kamot ahibo. But we will also have to write ki teolokor jonto individual aspiration asile hetu kobat global conditioner karone harm hoi jay. That if you mention only then your answer is a balanced answer. Because yat kudise the question to ki koisile, if you look at the question 13 to kotha koise dei 4 nohoy 4 to easy likhilu ami 13 ot ki kudisile kot gol 13 examine the impact of developed countries immigration policies in India's skilled workforce and diaspora communities. tar mane duita kotha kudise, skilled workforce jar ichha ase bahir jabole, also diaspora communities june already bahirot ase. So analyze how visa regulations and skill program in countries like the USA and Canada affect India's brain drain and diaspora engagement. So brain drain boli kobo gole to deterrent, but individual aspiration amar effect hoise, that we have to mention to have a balanced answer. Okay, so aru etialoke khatam hua nai, aru ase answer to sai jao kot gol. Yes, so ami nijor junkhini brain drain or issue asle hetu likhilu ki amar nijor mind nijor tate thaki jabo, kintu teolokor individual aspiration harm hobo pare. But some of the members of the diaspora may also wish to return, which can be seen as an event of recent times. Both manoy ghar vapsiu korise, shunise ne? Have you heard this term called ghar vapsi? There is a term called ghar vapsi, but swadesh vapsi, where people are coming back to their countries for whatever reason. One of the reasons be like erratic or irregular visa regulations. So yate question, the visa regulations are often the result of some political turmoil which may hinder the contributions and interactions of the diaspora within their own country. Mane etue nohoy ki okol movement effect korise. For example, tomorrow I go to US, I've settled there for 20 years, I love my country, but there is some reason why the US is not liking India. Mutu bhoy lagi thakbo no, jeneke olop din agote kolu ki moi jodi if I like send so too much solidarity with my country, there might be some backlash to me. Tobe jetia India beya pai ase, moi jodi India kotha kiba bhalke ko, jonto social deterrence or kotha ase, peer pressure. If the whole society is not liking India in US, and if I show that I like India, there might be something tahate muk beya pabo pare, moi ene migrant, মোৰ নিজৰ লাইফটো ইয়াত বেলেগ মানুহৰ ওপৰত ডিপেন্ড কৰি আছে. সো হেনুকা ভিসা ৰেগুলেশনে ডায়াসপোৰা এংগেজমেন্টটো কেনেকে হাৰ্ম কৰিব? The diaspora might reduce their interaction with India, might reduce their interactions with India. So a question to beauty to eto asile ki question to apani koto kitabot na pai. So kitabot na pale ki hoy, kitabot na pale kot pai. Where do you find if you don't find an answer in the books? You find in your brain. So this is how GS2 has heavily impressed me with all the questions they have asked. So jeneke moi Lakhpati Baido bonibole apnalokok koisilu ki whenever you were asked ki Lakhpati Baido ki benefit hobo, I asked you to be a Baido who was a beneficiary of Lakhpati Baido scheme. In these kind of situations, I will ask you to become a person from Bangalore who is a high-tech person, wants to go and settle in California. Visa regulation amu problem dise. Moi ki problem face korim. This is what you were supposed to write. Tomorrow, next question number 14, I would like you to imagine to be a person who has recently gone from here to Canada. Or tat go apply my face course, okay, they are doing this, doing that, country against a protest, visa regulation change, so what will be the fear in my mind? That you were supposed to write in question number 13. So always remember, the junbur analytical question ahe, the analytical questions that you find out, the analytical questions that you have often has an answer in your mind. এবাৰ চাগে আমি suddenly we were মানে পটককে analytical পাই গলো তো আমাৰ অলপমান মানে চিন্তা হ'ব পাৰে কিন্তু বহুত ষ্টুডেন্টছে মোক লিখিছে কি they enjoyed writing the paper because they had to actually use their mind rather than the books, which is a nice sign. So if you have written analytically the way we have said, so I think you are in for a very good mark. কিন্তু যদিও আপনার analysis তো বেশি thorough হোৱা নাই, but still you have done 50% of the analysis, you will be doing good. Eto apni tension nalabo. Okay, now let's move ahead. Question number 4 and question number 13 ami salu no. Question number 5 and question number 10 ekeloge sam ki context to eketai civil service. So question number 5 what ki hudise discuss the significant differences between colonial civil service and civil service of independent India, analyze the role of civil services as agents of change in contemporary India. This was a direct question from our mains answer writing. This was a direct question from a mains answer in the colonial part to huda nasilo kintu how the civil service of independent India can be harbingers of changes boli hudisilo. Also the question number 10 is bureaucracy is not an obstacle to democracy but an inevitable complement to it. Evaluate this statement in the light of criticism suggesting the bureaucracy fails to facilitate changes. Kotha to eketai hudise, language to beleg, point of view to beleg. Etu hudise in a comparative point of view ki colonial aur amar majot ki difference ase, eta attitudinal difference ase. Again, you will not find the answer to this question directly in any paper. It will be in your mind, also in movies. I will tell you how. And bureaucracy is not an obstacle. Yat hudise ki ami keneke change anibo paru, aru yat hudise evaluate the statement in the light of criticism suggesting that bureaucracy fails to facilitate changes. Yat kaise bureaucracy koba change to beya pai. There is something going on jot bureaucracy change hobile nibisare, which is true. Now we will look ahead in the answer. Question number 5 or arambhonit ami ki likhi loisu, ami prothome likhi loisu ki amar East India Company played by amar ICS ba covenant civil service CCS keneke start hoisile. We have written here the British East India Company played a pivotal role in shaping early civil service. Company started covenanted civil service where members had to sign covenants with the company's board. Likhilu abo. We have talked about the recommendations of Hutchinson's Commission. The ICS became the elite. The GG order say Lord Macaulay Sekolah sab likhilu olappan. We have written how the Indian civil service started, how we had CCS before that. CCS যদি আপনি লিখাও না, that's okay. You can start from Indian civil services because basically there তারপরে আমার almost all books start. But আমি লিখিলো, হেখিনি লিখি ললো, লিখাৰ পিছত হে আসল কোৱেশ্চনটো আহিছে কিন্তু because আমাক সুধিছে the comparative analysis কি আমাৰ আৰু তাৰ মাজত ডিফাৰেন্সটো কি। আপোনালোকে শুনিছেনে colonial hangover? Have you heard the word colonial hangover? Colonial hangover মানে কি? What is colonial hangover? I just use red. I got bored of blue. Yes. Colonial hangover. শুনিছেনে? Have you heard of it ever? কি কোনবা যদি সিভিল সার্ভেন্টে বেশি না কয়, বেশি রুড হয়, এই I am the superior person, এনেকে যদি কোনবাই শো করে, it is said that the person is suffering from a colonial hangover. Hangover ki I will not tell you, but the point is colonial hangover is the same thing as the normal hangover that we are talking about. Mane jua hoi gol activity, but we are still in the psychology of colonizers. So what is colonial hangover? Apnalage jodi ei purona modern India jonbur movies lagile Bhagat Singh hok ba amar Lagan hok tat ami dekhai paisilu ki the attitude of civil servants ki asle ami dekhisu na bahut jagat ki how the British people used to behave. Malala Lakhpati Didi mari disile, mob control korbo jaute, these things that we already know, and how they had so many there were so many laws passed by them and executed by the civil servants which actually were not pro India at that time. So we will look at how the civil service were at that time. Civil servants for a different purpose. The colonial civil services were formed for a different purpose. Their role was to establish law and order at any cost, to extract revenue, to keep British rule intact. The role was pro-government and anti-public. Pro-government, ba pro-British bole likho aro. Pro-British and anti-government, anti-public, ba anti-India. এটু কারণে আমি কোনো কিতাপ পঢ়িব লাগা হ'ব নালাগিছিলে আমি জানো জালিয়াৱালা বাগত কি হল the atrocity was like inflicted by a civil servant of British India হয় নহয় so that shows the attitude of it বহুত গভৰ্ণৰক আমাৰ মাৰিবলে ট্ৰাই কৰিছিলে আমাৰ যোন ৰেডিকেল সকল ৰেডিকেল কি বুলি কয় ৰিভলিউশনাৰী টেৰৰিষ্ট বুলি কয় তো তেওঁলোকে বহুত আমাৰ হেৰিক মাৰিব ট্ৰাই কৰিছিলে কিয় ট্ৰাই কৰিছিলে because of this attitude what they were pro-British, anti-India. Their role was to establish law and order any cost. Manu jana mari dim, but law and order maintained hobo lage. What the government needs, we don't care what the people are telling. We will like inflict violence on them. We will kill them. We will beat them, but we will keep the law and order under control. That is the attitude of a British civil servant. To extract revenue, lagan. Again, lagan. Doesn't matter, you die, you are a farmer, mar jao, but my lagan, my revenue I need to have. Nohole jodi hote attitude enuka nohol hoy iman protest kyo hoisile why so many revolts in the rural area started because of lagan ta mane teolokor attitude to enuka asile ki tumi mori joa bhai mur paisa to muk lagibo so what was the attitude was in any circumstances they will extract revenue and also to keep British rule intact. Government should always be right. Government should not face any problem. I am a British civil servant. I will kill you and I will keep the government in control. That was the attitude of a British civil servant. And hetu janibole apuni kono kitab pohibo laga hobo nalagisile. That should have been common knowledge by movies and everything that we have seen in day-to-day lives. I hope that you have written correctly for how the British civil servants were. Okay. And they had a no in their mind. They were non-developmental, they were regressive, anything negative you wanted to write, you can write. Okay? Now, how the Indian civil service is? Indian civil service kitya form hole? Post-1947. Post-1947 form hole as we see today. With the shaping of its ideas by great men like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, civil services of independent India are agents of government for people. Ami ki hobo goi asu. Ami ki I am still in my service hangover, so I keep on telling ami ki. So what are we going to be? We are going to be servants of people. British or Manubur ki people are servant asilen ki whether they were civil servant. No, they were not. They were servants of only their government. But what Indian civil servants are? They are also servants of people. They are servants of people. So the civil servants can be agents of change in contemporary India by. I mean, namot to civil servant loi lolu. Kintu most of the times etu dekha jay. Jeneke ami kisuman incident dekhisu. Jeneke amar a recent IS egorakir probationary teo dekhilu ami what happened. We saw an IS couple who were like nijor doggy took at a stadium or bon kori ghurai asile. Are they servant of people? No, they are not. So what are we going to, what changes can be brought by an ideal Indian civil servant? The civil servants can be agents of change in contemporary India by keeping the needs of the citizen before anything else. How can we, number one thing, ki change koribo laiba from the colonial hangover, we have to let go of the supremacy, whatever is in the hangover, and we have to behave like the civil servants have to behave like servants of people and keep the needs of the people ahead anything else. So keeping the needs of the citizen before anything else, getting out of the colonial hangover, kolu already, and be approachable and willing to interact. What will this do? This will facilitate civil interaction by public interaction. Integrating technology and innovation into working. Young civil servants are going to be brought inside the services now. What do they have in their hand? They have technology in their hand. They have an innovative mind. So I innovate koribo laibo. Moi naam to pahorisu harbingers of change. For example, moi tehnakhon LinkedIn ot dekhisu apnaloke sake kobat dekhise ki one of the IS officers teo eta marigold plantor patere I guess teo eta biodegradable visiting card bonaisile. Etue ki boost korile? Etue sustainable development dekhwale hoy na that boosted sustainable development, that promoted eco-friendliness, They promoted recycling. So many things was promoted by him by one visiting card. Ekhon visiting card has so many influence it happened. That is the power of a civil servant. So he was a harbinger of change in contemporary world. So that is what? That is innovation. That is innovation. Technology and innovation into working. We have to usher in newness inside the system. Be accountable for their work and trustworthy, having high emotional intelligence. Amar ethics of paper ahiye thake, hoy na hoy. Amar ethics of paper ahiye thake. EQ is more important than IQ. Don't forget the question. Question was what? How Indian civil servant can be harbingers of change. They have to have high emotional quotient because the people of India are still a lot baki ase to develop, to become as intellectually capable as the civil servant who is sitting in the chair. So ki lagibo for that? For that lagibo emotional intelligence or emotional quotient. Ayat ki ligesu, be accountable for their work. Harbingers of change keneke anibo? By being efficient, by solving complex problems, by taking accountability of whatever scheme and anything that they are doing on the ground field. Teneke hai apni contemporary world of change anibo. So this is not directly maybe a question of amar lagibo pare, this is not a question of GS2, but apni jodi bhalke syllabus at sai that directly likha ase civil service kudi. So that is a question of GS2. So this is how we were supposed to write, and I seriously hope you did write about this. Tar pisot junto amar heri question to asile logot likha question to junto asile that bureaucracy is not an obstacle to democracy but an inevitable complement to it. Evaluate this statement in light of criticism. Suggest that bureaucracy fails to facilitate. Jungita point kolu hegita ultai dibo lagisile. Yes, bureaucracy sometimes fails to facilitate change because they are not accountable. They have a colonial civil servants do have a colonial hangover. That's why they often have a superiority complex. They're not approachable to people. They're still in an era of British. Hey, bostutuke jodi ami ultai pela eta problem solving nisnake likhi dilu heten, we would have a question number 10 for you. Okay, let's move ahead. Done. Question number 6. So, what is Bhutan's plan for regional economic hub at Gelefu? In what manner is Assam going to be benefited by it? Easy question bole moi bhabo. Easy. Again, I will say the same thing. A question to answer, apni koto na pai. You will not find an answer to this question anywhere except in your mind. You will have to imagine yourself to be in Assam, which you already are. Apni imagine ko bolebo ki apni border state ase, for border district ase. For example, you are a citizen of Kokrajhar. Apni olop dur gole 30 km dur gole, you are getting Gelefu. Like heri kore koisu, I am giving an assumption that 30 km actual kilometer to mu monat nai, but you go a little bit and then you go inside to the boundary and then you see Gelefu, and Gelefu dekhi pele apuni bhabe ki tat to bahut dangor eta, you know, like economic hub eta hoise mur ki lav hobo. Moi immediately ki korim, I will try to find out ki tar pora moi keneke ki koribo paru, hoy na nohoy. How can I extract the economic benefits out of the economic hub that is going to be there in Gelefu? So ite protome ami likhi lobo lagibo in the intro je Gelefu hoy ki ase. Ki there are economic hubs everywhere, they invite foreign investment. Bhutan is very, like, you know, they are very good in marketing their areas. How they have marketed themselves as eco-friendly, happiest country, eco-friendly, very intelligent country. So itia yote ki koise Gelefu yote kiba mindfulness city banabo koise. They want to make Gelefu a mindfulness city, a very intelligent concept. Mindfulness city. Mindfulness city mane ki? It is a special economic zone only, by exclusive economic zone only. Khali tat ami sustainability anibo lagibo. Sustainability anibo lagibo. We need to be eco-friendly, and we need to be according to the Buddhist spiritual heritage of Bhutan. So Gelefu etu kane this talking je, it will be a mindfulness city, very intelligent concept. But basically they have not done anything very, like, you know, they have done something very new. Mane purani bottle mein nahi henukwa. Okay. So what they have said ki there are economic hubs elsewhere that invite foreign investment by providing a conducive business environment and compelling incentives. Bhutan's economic hub will offer all that and more than that. It will be one of a kind, anchored on the vision and values of GNH, and it will be a mindfulness city encompassing conscious and sustainable businesses inspired by Buddhist spiritual heritage and distinguished by the uniqueness of the Buddhist identity. Moi je kolu already. So kiba kibi likhisu aro Gelefu Selefo kotha we have already written. I hope that you have written a little bit about Gelefu. Okay, so Gelefu ta mi ki eta ulabo khoise bo kiba kibi likhisu aro Gelefu special administration. This is the factual part, and I am not going to put so much time inside of it. This is one Google link away. I am going to tell you which is not found in one Google link away. Likhilu debu sab mindfulness city kiba kibi likhilu. Huh? Now what? Now how Assam is going to be benefited by it, we will look at that. Again, a thing which is not signed on books, I told you. So as the city gets made, which is right at the boundary of India and Bhutan, Assam can be the primary supplier of all the matter required for construction of the whole city. So moor jeta boundary te ase, dhorok moi ejon contractor, moi ejon ita bonwa manu, moi eta moor friend e aru, moor friend e mane side ot ghor banai ase. Moi go kom no, oi ita lage niki moi dim. Kom nai, kom no, ne moi na, moi nidu hi belago peta. We'll not do that, right? We'll go and pitch ourselves because I am in search of an economic opportunity. So that is what Assam can do. Assam can provide all the primary supply that is required of the matter to be building in the city. City boni ase, city. Imagine koro kiman bostu lagibo. Ar sob bostu Bhutan osot nai. To be very honest, not everything is there in Bhutan, and Bhutan is what? Bhutan is zero carbon producing. So yohati hebur bostu bahiro pa luatue they will prefer. And as usual, what we are going to do, we are going to jump in the economic opportunity that we are having, and what we are going to do, we can be the primary supplier of all the matter required for construction of the whole city. All tangible and intangible. Okol ita bali cement kotha moi koa nai, kali current lagile ami dibo para hobo lage, hoy ne nohoy. Amar nijore current crisis ase hoy. But when it is required by the export, ami export korat to eneo bor bhal nohoy no, kintu jeta economic opportunity aise ami export koribo lagibo. So intangible bostu ami dibo laibo, intangible or technical know-how to ahe, amar engineer hokolo ami pothabo paro tat. Some type of Assam can do some type of association with Bhutan and the construction, whatever is going on their part, ki we can provide you the merit, the technological know-how, le lo. That is also one way. Assam can be the first easily accessible market of all the production of Gelefu. Markets are always the highest. Markets are always the the largest core of development maybe in terms of cities. Not huge market thake Siliguri. Ki ase Siliguri? What is there in Siliguri? Why is Siliguri so big? Why everyone goes to Siliguri? It's a market. Mane nahoy. Siliguri market kotha to sobei jane. Then also Guwahati kothao eta moi ko. Guwahati beleg facility ase, but people also come here because it is a huge market. Everything sob pai Guwahati. It is a market. So what can Assam be? Bhutano Gigi boni ase. Bhutano Gigi boni ase. We can be a market for it. Hoy na hoy. We can be a market for it. Ami retail kiba kibi koribo paro. Retail koribo paro. Whatever, retail koribo paro, wholesale koribo paro, ji koribo paro. Himalaya na jao aro. But we can be a market for it, right? We can provide things for building the whole city. We can be a market for it. Also, we can invite foreign development in foreign direct investment, and also invest our own to make auxiliary industries to the ones in Gelefu. Auxiliary industry mane ki? Etia amar, for example, let us clean this. Dhori lo ekhon gaon, hoy na? Ekhon gaon to eta hospital eta bonile, private hospital. Eta hospital eta bonile. আৰু মানুহৰ খুব হকা হল আৰু হস্পিটেল বনিলে আমি তাত যাম গা ভাল হ'ব কিবা কিবি হয়নে কিন্তু তাৰ যোনজন বিজনেস একুইপমেন্টৰ মানুহ আছে এন্ড কি কৰিব এটোৰ সাইডতে এটা ফাৰ্মাসি লগাব হয় না এটা ফাৰ্মাসি লগাব এটো that is not of the hospital হেতু that is of the rural যোনটো গাঁৱৰ মানুহ আছে তেওঁলোকৰ এটা ফাৰ্মাসি লগালে ইয়াতে হোটেল লগালে যোনবোৰ আমাৰ এটেন্ডেন্ট আহিব পেশেন্টৰ ৰাখি পেলে খাবলে হোটেল লগালে তা সাইডতে পান দোকান এটা লগালে তাৰ ওচৰত এখন মেগাজিনৰ দোকান লগালে কি বৰ হলে কিতাপো পঢ়িব পাৰে মেবি কিতাপ এটা মানুহ ওলালে তাৰ পিছত ইয়াত মোবাইল চাৰ্জিঙৰ দোকান চাৰ্জিং মানে মোবাইল ঠিক কৰাৰ দোকান ওলালে কাবাৰ মোবাইল দে what is this is development this is auxiliary these are auxiliary things that came because of the private hospital that came up private বুলি কৈছো government হ'ব পাৰে but private বুলি কৈছো মই so this is how things go up so imagine this private hospital to be gelefu so we can be what we can be the hotel we can be the pharmacy we can be the pan dukan and we can be the mobile repairing shop hoine nahoy so Assam can be what Assam can be a hub of all the auxiliary industries to the ones in gelefu to g to dangor hobo lage it can have a domino effect on the development of Assam also with development comes peace eto eta angle mo add kori disu development er logot ahe peace হয়নে নহয় আমাৰ বেসিক ফাইট বো যেতিয়া নিজৰ মাজত লাগে কি লাগে আমাৰ ওয়েলফেয়াৰ নহল আমি হিমান পইচা নাপালো যিমান পইচা পাব লাগিছিল বাই দ্য গভৰ্ণমেন্ট আমাৰ হিমান ডেভেলপমেন্ট নহল যিমান হ'ব লাগিছিল so angle to quote at ki jay development have you seen states of US fighting amongst each other maybe they fight but they don't fight as much as the developing and underdeveloped countries do why because they are developed they have no problem in development jetia amar pet full thake jetia amar pocketot paisa thake ami juddho koribole dubar bhabu because he juddho to karone kobat amar petor bhat to rokhibo pare amar pocketor paisa to rokhibo hoine no so jetia amar Assam kon already developed hoi jabo because of these reasons jetia amar automatically eta monot hanti ahibo eta peace ahibo crime rate komibo society will be happier so बहुत basic kiba kibi hoi jabo pare and that is called the domino effect of development in Assam okay so let's move ahead this is question number 7 another intelligent question can state funding of elections bring in transparency in the poll process how do the other democracies handle this so this is a tough question this is a tough question also I have found out that most of these questions you will find mane akol kitabor gyan hole itia kobat no hobo jonto ma bahut bar koi asu you will have to watch movies mindfully you will have to watch maybe books you will have to read books see television so bahut America based jodi apni political house of cards or nisna jodi kiba movies mane heri saise you have seen like house of cards is a very political drama that is in Netflix so hebur sale apni automatically gam pale din ki US or juntu amar political funding hoy hetu keneke hoy hoy etu kwa na ki hetue sabo lage but there are several others like that so thing is that jodi apuni kobat kitabot poha nai tetia hole enukwa bosture apuni keteba answer draw koribo pare okay so we first need to write how elections are funded presently amar election bur currently keneke fund hoy that we are going to see both schemes went to facilitate donation is the etu heri koba na lage donation under electoral bond scheme and donation under electoral trust so ami ei dutare itia problem itia currently ami political funding pai asu hoine no hoy ami political funding pai asu ama political funding individually kore amar funding corporate kore hoine ar ei funding to koribole keneke ahe electoral bond scheme and electoral trust okay now moving ahead etu eta paper or I have found it in I think India to date paisilu moi etu hekan I have put it here India to date paisilu je what after electoral bonds ok jetia supreme court e question korisile tar pisot eta article ulaisile the article that they wrote this ki as these have been declared unconstitutional these are the avenues that will continue to be used political funding corporate funding individual funding Indian subsidiary of a foreign company able all of details likhise aru cash and anonymous donations up to 2000 political parties can receive donation from individual jone apna kolu aru matro ha gutebur likhibo lage boli ma kwa nai kintu apni at least how mane intro apni etu likhibo lagibo ki currently ki hoise because state jonto koise state funding of elections that is a futuristic idea he etur upor bahut ARC committee boise NCRWCO koise so hebur that is an idea that has not become a reality as of now So আপোনাৰ reality to কি right now? Your reality is electoral bond and electoral trust, individual and corporate fundings. এইবোৰৰ কথা আপুনি ইন্ট্ৰোত লিখিব লাগিব. I hope you have understood how to have written the intro. So এই ইন্ট্ৰোটো লিখাৰ পিছতহে আমি আগৰ বডিটোত লিখিম কি যোনটো আমাক ইমাজিনেটিভ কনটেক্সট সুধিছে কি পাব্লিক ফান্ডিং হলে লাভ হ'ব নেকি. Now we are going to get inside the content. Okay? So this is the content, মানে body. State funding can bring in transparency, fair competition, keep the spirit of democracy alive. Parties will become democratic. Big corporates and businessmen will not have the power to influence people. People-friendly election, etc. So, state fund mane ki hoy? State fund is where state-funded election mane jo government e paisa diye, where the government gives money to fight the elections. So, itia ame jete election fight kori aso, we have no idea where the money is coming from. Until যেতিয়া Supreme Court election electoral bond মানে transparency আনিব দিলে, it was SBI was asked to show the details of electoral bond. তেতিয়া আমি গম পাইছো কি কোনে কি দিছে, that I understood. কিন্তু এটো তেতিয়া পাই গল না, money has already been taken and it has already been spent. There was already a hue and cry, কোনবাই কৈ আছে মোৰ লগত ভুল হল, কোনবাই কৈ আছে মই ভুল নাই কৰা, এইবোৰ সব হৈ গল ন. কিন্তু এইবোৰ সব এভয়েড হলেতেন যদি মেবি আমি পলিটিক্স স্টেট ফান্ডেড গভর্নমেন্ট মানে স্টেট ফান্ডেড ইলেকশন হলেতেন. স্টেট ফান্ডেড ইলেকশন মানে মই গভর্নমেন্ট মই ইমান এক্স পয়সা ইয়াক দিলু, ওয়াই পয়সা ইয়াক দিলু, এতিয়া তোমালোকে এই দুটা পয়সাৰে ইলেকশন খেলা. নাও হেতুৰ পয়সাত কি পিছত যদি অডিট হ'ব, সেই পয়সাটোতকে এক্সট্ৰা পয়সা হলে আমি গম পাম কি ক'ব পয়সাটো আহিলে, কুছ তো গড়বড় হে দয়া. সো সেই পয়সাটো যদি আমি দিলু আই এম আ গভর্নমেন্ট, তেতিয়া কি কি ফায়দা হ'ব? বহুত ফায়দা হ'ব. প্ৰথম কথা কি হ'ব, তেতিয়া আমি ট্ৰান্সপাৰেন্সি আহিব. State funding will bring transparency, will bring fair competition, because পয়সাটো তো একেটাই বা proportionate দিছে. Obviously এটা state party, obviously national party সমান পয়সা নিদিয়ে, হেতু তো committees will decide what to give, what not to give. But fair competition হ'ব ন, কোবাৰ পৰা একদম flood of money তো আহি না যায়, because government এ পয়সাটো এটা fixed দিছে. Keep the spirit of democracy alive. Parties will become more democratic. Parties will become more democratic মানে কি? Now the পার্টির উপর ডিপেন্ড কৰি থাকিব নালাগে ক্যান্ডিডেটে, যে মোক পার্টিয়ে পয়সা দিলেহে মই ইলেকশন খেলিব পাৰিম, পার্টিয়ে মোক যদি পয়সা নিদিয়ে সেইকাৰণে মই হাজি হুজুৰজি কৰি থাকিম, তেতিয়াহে মোক পার্টিয়ে ক্যান্ডিডেটৰ দিব. তো যেতিয়া গভর্নমেন্ট ফান্ডিং ইলেকশন হ'ব, ইয়েস ক্যান্ডিডেটৰ এটা কথা থাকিব, কিন্তু একসেপ্ট ক্যান্ডিডেটৰ পয়সাটোৰ ওপৰত ইমান ইনফ্লুয়েন্স নাথাকে, কিন্তু পয়সাটো তো চৰকাৰে দি আছে ন. So what will it become? It will have, parties will become democratic. Big corporates and businessmen will not have the power to influence people. Very important, very important. Amar electoral fundot amar problem to ki hol, most of dangor corporate bilake dher paisa di dile. Itia ami bhabi asu ki capitalistic manu bilake iman paisa dile, etia ki amar jintu welfare state or psychology asile hetu koba harm hobo pare niki, etu bhoy ase na amar upor. Ami kiyo koi thaku etu privatize kobo na lage, etu right to dissent upor eta question ase. But we do that, right? We are scared ki iman capitalist e paisa dise, etia teolokor mote he kam hobo. Hoy na nai, that is different matter. Kintu amar bhoy to ase, he bhoy to nai ke hoy jabo jeta sarkare paisa di dibo, etia corporate e paisa dibo na lage. Jodi corporate e paisa diye, obviously they will want na ki teolokor mote kam hok. যেতিয়া corporate পয়সা দিয়ে স্কোপে নাহে, গভর্নমেন্ট পয়সা দিয়ে, then okay, there will be no influence from the government, there will be no influence from the corporates and big businessmen. So this is a huge advantage ki big corporates and businessmen will not have the power to influence. People friendly election, people friendly election মানে কি? People friendly election মানে now the election বা মই অলপ আগতে কলো আমাৰ welfareistic state to কিবা এটা harm হ'ব পাৰে নেকি, এটো নোহোৱা হৈ যাব. We will have people-friendly election and people-friendly government. The election that are state-funded are those which that I explained ma koi disu. Itia kotha to buji pale na, public ke korile ki hobo, ki government e paisa dile ki hobo. So all these advantages will be there. Aro eta bostu add korise ki bahirot ki hoy, ha? Some countries across globe allow individual donations. Corporate donations are allowed in some and banned in some countries like US and Canada. মানে US আৰু কেনেডাৰ নিচিনা কান্ট্ৰি বিলাকে ডাইৰেক্টলি পয়সা নলয়, লাইক ইলেক্ট্ৰাল বন্ডছ অন যেনেকা আছে হেনেকে ডাইৰেক্টলি পয়সা নলয়. They form political action committees, আৰু হে political action committee বিলাকে কি কৰে, ফান্ড ৰেজিং কৰে. They form PACs, political actions committees, and they do fundraising. A fundraising that kintu sobe paisa dibo pare. A fundraising to they can do everything, everybody can pay. Or hey fundraising to it is under the election commission, federal election commission boli koy, teolukor election commission hai, they do. Also there are particular trust funds under treasuries juntur porao teoluke paisa pai. Okay, so this is a factual thing, but difficult to remember. Ekane jodi monot nai rakha, I hope you wrote something close to it. আৰু যোনটো আমাৰ স্টেট ফান্ডিং ইলেকশনৰে কি হেল্প হ'ব হেতুটো একদম আপুনি সিটিজেন নিছনাকে ভাবিলে আপুনি গম পালে হেতেন কি ইলেক্ট্ৰাল বন্ডৰে কি প্ৰবলেম হৈছে মোৰ প্ৰাইভেটাইজেশন হলে কি প্ৰবলেম হৈছে আমুকে পইচা দিলে কি প্ৰবলেম হৈছে মোৰ ইনফ্লুয়েন্সটো এনেকে হ'ব নেকি দিস দ্যাট তো আপুনি অটোমেটিক্যালি যেটা এটা সাধাৰণ সিটিজেন হিচাপে ভাবিব কি গভৰ্নমেন্টে যদি ফিক্স পইচা দিছে তেতিয়া হলে কি লাভ হ'ব দেন উই অটোমেটিক্যালি উইল হ্যাভ আ আনসার টু দিস কোয়েশ্চন ওকে লেট মি হ্যাভ আ সিপ অফ ওয়াটার Done? So we'll clean it. We'll go ahead. Question number 8. Are we taking a lot of time? Why not? You will have to take a lot of time. Question I say you know to take a lot of time. Okay? So this is question number 8. Pretty factual question actually. This is a factual question only. Apuni jodi India Myanmar relationship pohi goise tatya hole you will not find any difficulty. And this is also a direct question from our mains answer writing. So this was understood ki fencing or kotha ahi ase tetya hole it is very obvious that India Bhutan India Myanmar ebur ahiboi. Okay, so India Myanmar ki hudise do you think fencing of India Myanmar border is an effective step to check terrorist activities and drug trafficking? Duta aspect ase ha terrorist activity ase drug trafficking ase duita aspect touch koribo laibo ami justify your answer in the light of center's decision to fence the porous India Myanmar border. Okay, so let's okay so my kisuman point this is the factual part actually ethnic violence hoise amar ethnic violence has been a significant in Manipur resulting in the tragic loss of 175 lives since 22 it is so ami ki paiso amar jonne first aspect asile first aspect was security right terrorist activities so ami point bur yat likhilu ethnic violence hoise Manipur effect hoise by Meitei Naga, Kuki, Zomi, Mar insurgent groups, presence of an unfenced border and unregulated migration. Myanmar have been attributed to some factor. Insurgent group ahise, smart fencing bile. Epura factual kotha aru etu aru bujabole eku nai. Tar mane apnaloge janibo laibo ki terrorist activity hoise tar pora mane unregulated population humaise juntu karone the internal security or the internal composition of our boundary states have been disturbed juntu karone insurgency ahise which is also a form of terrorism. Also amar junbur inside terrorists asile terrorist by insurgency whatever you want to say they also have an easy access to Myanmar amar easy access to Myanmar hole yar pa goi pele tar jongolor lukabole subidha hoy that is a terrorist thing amar purona example ase which happened so hebur bostu ami likhi pela likhibo pare aru junto amar drugor kotha ase drugor kothat khali moi etai bostu drawing eta loi anislu moi I hope you know this I'm confident you know this the golden triangle right golden triangle is also called the death triangle so ami ei bikhoye likhibo laibo ki to India hoy ya Burma mane Myanmar Burma Thailand Laos Vietnam egita mili pela yat golden triangle দিয়ে which is a very huge area of drug trafficking so amar lagate lagi ase yat so hetu karone bahut problem hoy amar a lot of Indian citizens who are especially in the boundary states are affected by the constant drug that is coming from the golden triangle or fele golden crescent to ase ha this is called golden crescent etu amak ei answer to na lage moi generally apnaloko koi tholu golden crescent or death crescent so ei golden triangle to ba ji amar drug humai he drug to karone amar problem hoy ei likhibo lagisil aru smart fencing korile amar subidha hobo because terrorist ahajua to komibo amar drugor heri komibo kintu amar ta free trade agreement asile hetu karone ami kiba ta facility rakhibole ba eneke ami balance kori likhile hol okay this is an easy question and you will find it in books that's why it's an easy question now let us move ahead it was likhai na because it is factual constitutional body in India need to fulfill the role of watchdog in democracy CAG or kotha likhi dile hol CAG or kotha likhi pela you have to tell ki how CAG is a constitutional body and constitutional body mane ki what is a constitutional body it finds its origin in the constitution So it's away from all the three sectors of government, away from judiciary, away from this, away from that, executive, legislative. So it is above it. It's a watchdog. Ebu likhi dile hol. I think you have written it correctly. Okay, moi etule najao aru etu aru analysis koribole eku nai. Ha? So this is factual. Moi factual boli likhi hoisu. Etu apnalekeu jane baru factual boli. This is question number 11. Again a direct question from our answer writing. Direct question. It's a direct question. Imane direct ki okol hobdo kita belega amiu etu khudisilu. So Forest Conservation Bill 2023 seeks to balance the case of forest conservation with the requirement of strategic infrastructure. Moi khudisilu ki amar ecological balance or strategic balance to keneke koribo mane. This is what we asked. Eke khudise. Discuss the possible impact of such interventions in a state of Northeast India. Move ahead. Answer to ami ki likhisu. First likhisu aru ami forest conservation bill or ki hol আপোনালোকেও লিখিব লাগিব কি ফৰেষ্ট কনজাৰভেশ্যন বিলত এয়া হল আমাৰ নন ফৰেষ্ট ল্যান্ডক আমি কেনেকে ইউটিলাইজ কৰিব দিছে ফৰ বেলেগ পাৰপাস উইদিন 100 কিলোমিটাৰছ ফ্ৰম ষ্টেট বাউণ্ডাৰী হেবো লিখিব লাগিব বিকজ বেলেগ কিবা কিবি নিলিখিলেও এই মেজৰ পইণ্ট কিটা আপুনি লিখিবই লাগিব ওকে দিস ইজ দ্য পাৰ্ট where you have to write the factual things. The Forest Conservation Amendment Bill allows for the division of forest land into various projects including road, railway, strategic national security project within 100 km of international boundary. Ei khinite amar gondogol to ase. Land within 100 km borders must be for national security mane kot use koribo. In national security use koribo forest land along a rail line public road maintained by government, land up to 10 hectares proposed to be used for constructing security আৰু permitted activity bridges zoo safari ebur banabo paribo tar mane strategic amar junbur check post ebur banabo paribo rail ebur banabo paribo road banabo paribo wildlife protection act olop change kori zoo safari eburu koribo paribo within 100 kilometers from the boundary. Okay, so yat amar ki okhubida hobo, that is what is asked. Okay, amar mane northeast amiu northeast karone ami boli koisu. So amar okhubida ki hobo, আমার বাউন্ডারি বা জঙ্গলত জেনারেলি কোন থাকে the tribal community আর তেওঁলোকৰ প্ৰটেকশনে আমাৰ বহুত ইম্পৰ্টেন্ট এসপেক্ট অফ the constitution হয় right. তো তেওঁলোক বদৰ হ'ব. Indigenous communities may face reduced recognition of traditional right over forest land. So forest landot আমি in cities বা towns বা villages তো হিমান বুজি নাপাম যিমান হে ফৰেষ্টত থাকা মানুহসকলে বুজি পাব. ফৰেষ্টত থাকা মানুহজনৰ কাৰণে ফৰেষ্টে ঘৰ হয়, ফৰেষ্টে অকুপেশন হয়, ফৰেষ্টে অফিস হয়. All they have is the forest. তেওঁলোকে তাৰে পৰা খোৱা লয়, তাৰে পৰা ফিউল লয়, তাৰে পৰা ফ্ৰুটস লয়, তাৰে পৰা অকুপেশন আছে. So that is their natural life. আৰু আজি নহয় ইহঁতি centuries and centuries of ফৰেষ্টত আছে. Now what is going to happen? তেওঁলোকৰ এই indigenous যোনসকল community আছে, the tribal community may face reduced recognition of traditional rights. Traditional rights mean jonte centuries dhori they are enjoying the rights of agote forest act already teolok right diye hoise ke teoloke minor forest produce use koribo pare and all that. So ebina kobad effect hobo pare. Amendment eliminates the need for tribal gram sabha prior consent for non forest use, potentially favoring private interest. So agote ki hoisile before this amendment, people when I was in Kokrajhar, this was one of the very important things ki there used to be gram sabha. আমি যদি মাটি কোবাত বেলেগত allotment কৰিব বিচাৰো আমি এনেকে দিব নোৱাৰো. Non tribal area কিন্তু অলপ হলেও সেটো বেছি থাকে. But in tribal area there is a rule that আমি এনেকে gram sabha বইব লাগিব. The gram sabha they sit and they decide whether the land will be given to this or land will be given to that. And depending on the gram sabha's decision and all, then we come to a mutual agreement ki mati to kot diya jabo. Itya there is a fear that the amendment eliminates a factor to eliminate koidle. Itya the government can decide. The amendment eliminates the need for tribal gram sabha prior consent for non-forest use, potentially favoring private interest. Permission for corporate-led ecotourism may impact tribal livelihoods, and mass tourism could negatively affect local cultures and traditions. Imagine there is a place jot akol hati jay aru he indigenous community thake. Tar jodi itare me safari koribo jao. You have seen ki Manasot heriye khede, hoine tiger khede mo koa nai sobote hoy. There are many areas. Recently, at a video viral, I think some national park of West Bengal, jo tat thaka kunbai some animal also started chasing the gadi. So this is what will happen if we have mass tourism inside these areas. Because jodi bahut bosorer pora there is a human influence in these regions, এতিয়া অলপমান কনফ্লিক্ট কম হোৱাৰ চান্স থাকে, কিন্তু আজিলৈকে গোৱালপাৰাত ম্যান এনিমেল কনফ্লিক্ট হৈ আছে because animal was suddenly introduced, the road was suddenly introduced in the elephant corridor. So যোনটো allow কৰিছে যদি হেতু আমাৰ ইকোনমিক্যালি বুস্ট হৈ যায়, if it is economically boosted, এটা কি হ'ব? Corporate led ecotourism may impact tribal livelihoods. Mass tourism could affect negatively local cultures and traditions. Also, changes in forest use may impact the livelihood and cultural practice of indigenous groups. So, egita ami likhibo lagisile. So, this was not very tough. Eto olop janibo porai asile. So, apnaloke jetia when you write these points, land within 100 km must be used for national security, automatically ebu point ahi jay. Kitab thaka manu blage ki koribo, teloko local culture ase hetu ki hobo, teloko khua bua thaka mela animals or ki hobo, ecological kotha to kuda na ekol tribal or indigenous population kotha hudise, so ami teloko perspective aba koisu, but tar dher perspective ase. It have been written and made in a multitude of questions. Okay, so this is how we are supposed to write. Let's move ahead. This is question number 12. Shortcut or lighi desu moi. I will explain it to you. The increasing use of artificial intelligence is expected to fundamentally transform the ways in which governance is done in India. Discuss the challenges. Apna A to uda na hai ki what what is going to change through AI. AI ki change koribo, fast governance koribo, facilitate koribo, transparency anibo, kiba anibo, ebu to buzi pao na. Challenges ki face koribo, bahut challenges hai, there are a lot of challenges to face. Ami start to deep fake opa korisu, tar pisot dher likhi dilu. Deep fakes and phishing hobo pare, hane? Deep fakes mane ki jodi kali nokorok, let us assume je I am not giving any idea to any wrong people, but if kunba kunba district or DC hai, if kiba koi thaka boli eta deep fake ulai jai, what will happen? What can happen because of that? Kiba wrong information na koi thaka deep fake eta ulai jai, that can create a huge ruckus in the governance of the whole state. What is that? This is a problem of AI. This is a deep fake problem. Phishing gom pai de, artificial intelligence and ama already e-governance sakote dher confusion hoy asile. Jodi amar enuka artificial intelligence la kalle kunba kiba random link pathai bla gobo eto government opa disu eya 10 taka diok buli koi gude bank khali. That is phishing. Website hacks, improper use by people in government to yield wrong results. Enuka to nohoy ki everyone is a technological geek who is there in the government. Kunba to enuka manu ase jar 2 years ase for retirement. Of course, you cannot suddenly put them inside AI ki apuni AI use korok, AI use korok. Jodi koreo AI use, gorbo to koriboi. What is that? That is improper use by people in government to yield wrong result. Lack of capacity building, leading to slow governance. Okol he 2 bosor thaka manujono kothai moi koa nai. Kunba young officer also, you also, I also, jodi kali amak suddenly koi ki we have to use AI from this without proper training, jetia amar ki hobo pare, amar capacity build no hobo pare aru ami slow ke jetia we will learn by practice, and when you learn by practice it automatically slows down the speed of governance. So what is that? That is a challenge of AI. Psychological barrier. Police le sake bahute jetia first computer introduced korisile in the banking system, about 80% of people from some certain bank they resigned and took voluntary retirement. Why? Because they were not able to cope up with the technology. So what is psychological barrier? Moi aru ki hiki mitya AI hoy na noy. That is one very common attitude we have in government, especially of the ones in of the senior people. Jar olop 2 bosor ase 1 bosor ase to retirement and all. So governance doesn't only mean officers day. Governance means from A to Z. Everyone who is there, who is inside the governance process. So tar dujon man thakibo nohoi june kobo moi no ki hikime moi. What is that? That is psychological barrier. That is also a challenge to AI day. Resistance to change, ekedai lack of scientific literacy or digital literacy amongst people. Okol governance sote nohoy. Challenges of governance pani. Governance includes government and people. Government okole nijo upor governance nokore na manu upor governance koribo. So manhue jodi they are not digitally literate, they don't know what is going on, ki labh hobo yar. So we will have to bring in a like digital literacy and heri also. Ma bujhi paisu ki the through demonetization amar gaon he like very small shop to ami he QR code to pai jao. QR code aru artificial intelligence is like apples and oranges. যদি আমি QR code শিকাব পাৰিছো আমাক আৰু অলপ টাইম লাগিব artificial intelligence শিকাব কাৰণে so that people don't get what frauds. So they are not open to frauds. What are these? They are challenges of artificial intelligence. So apuni start moi deep fake di korilu kintu goi palo fraud. So whenever you write this question, challenges, discuss the challenge in governance, discuss the challenges to be faced. A governance to kintu challenge of both the government and people. Dikhen nai people to pahari gol niki, people to pahari gole marks olop jabo, kintu government to likhile pabo marks, iman tension nai, kintu people to likhile maybe you would have gotten a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10. And like yesterday my faculty told ek mark mane eta 10 ta rank hoy geche, 10 to komei koise besi rank hoy geche. So governance boli koala like it's a two-way process. It's a process of the people also and the government also. Okay, so duita aspect likhibo lagisil. Let's move ahead. Question number 14. A2 hai question number 3 to nisna. I will not discuss it now. I will give it to you because it is basic analytical nohoy. It's partly factual, but I will come back to that. So question number 15. Good governance is considered to be a key to achieving sustainable development and human well-being. Evaluate this assertion with reference to the initiatives undertaken by SDG. So 2030 kiba kibi factual kotha likhilu moi adaru je etu hol what is sustainable development goal da kiba kibi likhilu aru ami etu to factual kotha gome palu kintu tate ami ki include korilu no poverty scheme under Akhomor ki scheme ase, public distribution system ase, Swanidhi scheme ase, stand up India ase, zero hunger karone ako PDS ase, midday meal ase, good health and well-being on Ayushman Bharat, Indradhanush ki asle vaccination scheme to mont ase ne, sarva shiksha abhiyan ase, beti bachao beti padhao ase, clean water karone Jal Jeevan mission ase, Swachh Bharat abhiyan ase, hoy ne, affordable and clean energy karone itia joa kali je ahisile GS1 or eta question eta scheme ahisile etu kotha likhibosun GS1 or ahisile kobat ahisile pawrisu, but there was one solar energy scheme that was asked in one of the papers. Write it down in the comment section. That is a decent work and economic growth, industry and innovation, reduce inequality. Ebilak sobor karone kintu ami eta Akhomor one of the schemes we will have to write. Why? Question to ki asle? Evaluate this assertion with reference to the initiatives undertaken by the government of India. Okay, tarmane ami okol SDG kole nohobo, we will have to evaluate this assertion with reference to the initiatives undertaken by the government of India. Are tolor kita ki hoy, they are initiatives of government of India. So ami a no poverty egita ami likhibo lagibo, some of the government of India schemes or government of Assam schemes we will have to write. Understood? Nohole it will be adha. Okay, so gute 17 ta moi yat likhi disu for your kind reference. So good governance or kotha to jetia khudile, from the side of good governance we need to take care of unmet commitments, inadequate resources, lack of focus and accountability, and insufficient interest in sustainable development. Tar mane ki goal to decide koridile, goal to declare koridile, goal to ami declare kora nai, goal has been declared globally. So ami eta one of the members asilu jetia goal to declare hoisile, so goal to declare koridile, declare korar pisa amar falapa nai goal declare hoise ami nijor mote cholim hobo janu tetia sustainable development goal feel hobo nohoy. What do we need to have? We need to have commitment. We need to take care of unmet commitments, inadequate resources. Good governance mane ki what our government can do so that the sustainable development goals can be met. What we have to do, we have to give them adequate resources, we have to take care of the lack of focus and accountability, we have to take care of the insufficient interest in sustainable development. So jetia ami resources, there's an unmet demands, there's an interest in sustainable development, ebo jetia ami nijor welfare scheme re সাস্টেইনেবল ডেভেলপমেন্ট গোল টু ম্যানিফেস্ট কৰিব ট্ৰাই কৰিম তেতিয়াহে আমাৰ সাস্টেইনেবল ডেভেলপমেন্ট গোলৰ যোনটো এইম আছে হেতু কমপ্লিটলি ফুলফিল হ'ব So ইয়াত কি লিখি কৈছে this time around it is important that the member states acknowledge that achieving the sustainable development goal requires strong political institution and process যোনটো মই অলপ আগতে কৈছিলো যদি গভৰ্ণমেণ্ট ডিসাইডস কি নাই মইতো নিজৰ মতেই কৰিম মই সাস্টেইনেবল ডেভেলপমেন্ট গোলছ হল পাক্কা নিদু কিবা লাভ হ'ব সাস্টেইনেবল ডেভেলপমেন্ট গোলটো মানে মিট হ'ব নহয় ন তো পলিটিক্যাল হেৰিটো লাগিবই পলিটিক্যাল লেজিটিমেচিটো লাগিবই What is said here? The strong political institution and process lagibo. Government have to align national policies with the breadth and complexity of the sustainable development goals and must involve public and private party in policy creation. In other words, the achievement of 17 sustainable development goal is heavily dependent on effective governance. Understood? So, yate ami kobo lagibo ki governance or ki role hobo lagibo. To meet the sustainable development goal. To ma ki kolu political ambition, political institution alignment hobo laibo, political policy alignment hobo laibo, accountability hobo laibo, resource thakibo laibo amar falar pa, amar junbur amar whole process and everything should be in alignment with sustainable development goal. We need to have focus on it. We need to have sufficient interest in sustainable development, and that is how we are going to have a proper sustainable development goal or manifestation. Okay, this was what was asked by the question. Let's move ahead. Good, okay. So quad 2 factual hoy quad 2 mu kobo laga eku nai elucidate the opportunities of India under quad arrangement pretty factual. I think you'll be able to make it. Question number 17 to okay, one second. A2 amar we had asked this question in ethics. আমি ethical journalism কথা হুদিছিলো ethical journalism কথা হুদিছিলো in the same line then journalism to amar ki hoise boli ami হুদিছিলো so this is a question to paraphrase Mark Twain if you don't watch news you will be uninformed if you do you will be misinformed in the context of this statement assess the role of Indian media as the fourth pillar of democracy so article 19 কথা আমি কব লাগিব freedom of speech and expression So, আমি আৰম্ভণি কি বুলি কৰিছো Article 19 of the Constitution of India guarantees the right to freedom of speech and expression and is typically invoked against the state. So, মানে freedom of speech and expression আমি typically state against এ কলে আমি কও কি কেনেকে কলা তুমি মোৰ freedom of speech and expression আছে Article 19 কিবা কিবি হয় না নহয় So, generally it is invoked against the state only. However, despite the constitutional safeguard, media in India hasn't been completely true to its role as its fourth pillar of democracy. So this is one question jod ami bhoy khabo na lage why am I saying this ami bhaibo paro ki dia ami jodi kiba eneke likhi diu ki kisuman media government er kotha basically show kore aru opposition er kotha beya ke show kore ami jodi eneke likhi diu etia it will be wrong because tomorrow we are going to be a part of the government yes tomorrow we are going to be a part of the government but we are the steel frame of India we have to take care of the government so kiba jodi bhul hoy ase we have to say it also say it in paper I don't know what other I have heard also etu bostu moi yate koi diu jede ma mains answer writing check kori asilo to bahut manhe rightest answer likhise Pakistan beya amuk pradhan mantri beya to heneke kole people have the psychology je kiba hobo niki I will be favored or something please don't think like that government is a neutral body you are going to be neutral people in future so this question or jodi apuni kiba dissentive likhibo lage it is okay okay So, yate ami ki likhilo 17 not we have to write the role of media. Ki media ki hoise? What happened in media? Providing information about amar prothome ami likhilo bolebo role of media hobo ki leisla. Aru bostu World Freedom Press Index er kotha yat likhisu India's rank in 161st is the world. Okay? So yat ami ki likhisu providing information about political issues, policies and events allowing them to make informed decision about their leaders and government. Holding leaders accountable, the media acts as a watchdog, scrutinizing the actions of the government officials and holding them accountable for their actions, encouraging public debate, representing diverse perspectives. Mane A2 hoy media e fourth pillar to hoy kaam korile heten keneke. What was the role of media? Role of media so that they do act as the fourth pillar of democracy. Fourth pillar of democracy. Okay, তো আমি কি মিডিয়া কি কৰিব লাগিছিলে ইনফৰমেশন দিব লাগিছিলে about political issue policy event about informed decision about the leaders and government holding leaders accountable rasta kiyo bana nai rasta gat kiyo ase amuk kiyo ase tamuk kiyo ase media act as a watchdog scrutinizing the action of the government officials encouraging public debate the media provides a platform for public debate and discussion about the political issues representing diverse perspective the media should represent a range of perspective and a viewpoint অকল বলে এটা কমিউনিটিৰ পার্সপেক্টিভে দি আছে এটো নহব XYZ ABC সব কমিউনিটিৰ পার্সপেক্টিভ দিব লাগিব হেতু হ'ব লাগিছিল আইডিয়ালি মিডিয়াজ রোল কিন্তু কোবাদ আমাৰ মিডিয়াটো অলপমান স্ক্ৰুটিনিত আহিছে because it has not completely been true to its role how media is being untrue to its responsibility media bias Media can distort the information that is presented to the public. The mainstream media in India is often indulged in either being pro-government or totally against them. They are choosing extreme point of views and are not trying to balance out. Media kaam pro by anti hua nohoy. Media kaam hoy sachai dekhua to show the truth. But amar ki hoy gese media bu either anti government hoy gese nohole pro government hoy gese. So what is that? That is media bias. A media bias thakile to ami gom na pam. We are not knowing ami to citizen hoy. Ite ami jonto channel sai asu hete hosai dekhai ase na bias dekhai ase ami to citizen hisabe gom na pao. So what is going to happen? We are going to be misinformed. Jonto Mark Twain ekosile. Going ahead, fake news. Jonto bahut social media na ami dekha pao. Rise of social media has made it easier for fake news to spread rapidly, often leading to confusion and misinformation among the public. Going ahead, select. Corporate influence. Bahut media house of corporate influence kore. Jeneke ami kolu corporate election ko influence kore. So obviously media to influence koribo pariboi. Corporate influence. Media outlets are often owned by large corporations which can influence the editorial policy and reporting of the media. Teolokor ji ichha hetue dekhwai. Is that okay? Is that the role of the fourth pillar of democracy? No, dangor no eta likiso. No matter which corporation is owning the media cannot be biased. That is against ethical journalism. So yat ki koise corporate influence media outlets are often owned by this that likhile. Government censorship hoy keteba. Government may use censorship to control the flow of information and suppress dissent. Also gender diversity. The lack of gender diversity in the media is another important issue to consider. Women are underrepresented in both the ownership and the workforce of media organization, which limits the diversity. And the most important is media trial. Media trial mane gom pai ne? Media nizam se declare kori diya jay. Amuk gaur se dekhe is insan ko. Eneka manu ta ulai. Hone? Tule to mani disu baro. Kali jane for example. Gaur se dekhe isko. Amuk korise, tamuk korise. Who are you to say? Amuk korise, tamuk korise. Have you done investigation on it? No, right? So what is that? That is media trial. Juntu ami bahut we do enjoy it as a citizen maybe because of the TRP and stuff, but that is unethical. That is not supposed to happen. We are not supposed to believe what the media is showing, and also the media is not supposed to show something judgmentally. Duita side show kora to media kaam hoy. Okay, so that is how media role to ami dekhilo. Ami information dibo lagisile, political debate conduct koribo lagisile. Government বা opposition জুনু হয় তেওঁলোকৰ কামবোৰ ভাল নে বেয়া ক'ব লাগিছিল ইনফৰমেশন দিব লাগিছিল ডাইভাৰ্সিটি প্ৰেজেন্ট কৰিব লাগিছিল কিন্তু আমাৰ মিডিয়া কৰি কি আছে মিডিয়া ট্ৰায়াল কৰি আছে মিডিয়া বায়াস কৰি আছে তাৰপিছত কৰ্পোৰেচনে জুনটো স্পন্সৰশিপ দিছে হেতুৰ মতে মিডিয়া দেখুৱাই আছে মিডিয়া আন্ডাৰ এটা পাৰ্টিকুলাৰ কমিউনিটিৰ বস্তুটো ৰিপ্ৰেজেন্ট কৰি আছে সো হোৱাট ইজ দ্যাট দে আৰ হাউ media is not acting as a fourth pillar of democracy. And that is how Mark Twain is right, that if you should see the media, then you will be misinformed. I hope apni duita aspect likhise. Duita aspect likhile, your answer will not be complete. So you will have to write what was the ideal role, and you will have to write how the ideal role is not getting followed. Okay? Let's move ahead. Salient feature of flag code in India, factual, nai pohua. Right to dissent. Right to dissent to ami jetia etu question ami khuda nai kintu ami jetia amar content writing team ok hire kori asilu jetia etu topic e disilu right to dissent and very beautiful articles people wrote because it had to current affairs asile we knew that this thing is about to come although we didn't write it in the question paper dile bhalo asile But what is right to dissent? The apex court, mane Supreme Court, said in the case related to Bhima Goregaon case and ban on protest in Jantar Mantar that dissent is the safety valve for democracy. Safety valve mane ki? If this safety valve is not allowed to function, then the pressure cooker will burst. Ito pressure cooker hoy na? Tolor pa jui lagile yate eta valve thake tar pa city mare na hoy na? City marile ki hoy upor pa pressure to release hoy. So Supreme Court e koise ei pressure cooker city to hoy safety valve juntu hoy, that is the right to dissent. Right to dissent. Ita dissent mane ki? Dissent mane man mutav, disagreement. Hoy ne? Aji ghorat ma ki bonibo breakfast ot? Ai bhabisu toast banao. Ei moi chowmin he kham. Nai na mok chowmin nidle man na khao. What is that? That is dissent. Society. Kunba 4-5 jon young people, they have come from office and they are like, you know, gute hopta to bahut kaam korile, so they want to chill out, so and the music bajaise. And the makan malik is not happy. So ahile calling bell ting ting, e ganto komwa. What is that? Dissent. So dissent is not only present in the country in a legal way. Dissent is present in family, dissent is present between couples, friends, society, everything. So dissent thaki boy. Dissent nathaka kunu society thakbo noare. Dissent nathaka society is an imaginary society and also a suppressed society. Etu kotha Supreme Court e koise. Supreme Court e ki kole? The apex court kole dissent means disagreement, strong opinion, difference of opinion on a particular subject, especially about an official suggestion or a plan or a popular belief. Dissent exists everywhere from society, from family to government. Okay? So etur kihor manifestation hoy? Article 19(1)(a) provides freedom of speech and expression, and also under Article 19(2) provides reasonable restrictions on such freedom. So juna our right of dissent hoy, it is a direct manifestation of Article 19(1)(a) and 19(2). Okay? So this particular right is also subjected to likhilu distinguishing feature, often space. Yes. The distinguishing feature of any democracy is the space offered to legitimate dissent, which cannot be trampled by any executive action. Thus, the court recognizes that legitimate dissent is a distinguishable feature of any democracy. Also observe that every individual or a group of individuals, whether they are minority or poor or marginalized, have the right to express their dissent to the government policy and fight their social circumstance. Protest strengthen representative democracy by enabling direct participation in public affairs where individuals and groups are able to. Dher kolu moi tar mane to etu ki jodi apuni kiba beya paise and you are not able to speak out, then are you free? Are you really free? Isn't that the question? Moi democracy daso. Today I am in a democracy. Democracy is what? By the people, of the people, for the people. Hoy na noy? So democracy jodi people e kobo noare. Jodi people don't have the right to dissent. People mane ki? People mane okol eta particular community nohoy nohoy. If another community is not happy with something, nai ma bhal puwa nai. So moi to kobo paribo lagibo no. Nohole for the people keneke hol. Moi dekhon democracy dasilu kali. Last time I checked, I was in democracy. Then I should be able to tell, no? Then what is that? That is the spirit of democracy. Question to ki asile? Question to asile, right of dissent is the lifeline of democracy. Lifeline of democracy mane ki? Lifeline of democracy mane ki? It should be of the people, for the people, by the people. Hoy na no hoy? By to hobo paru, often for keneke hobo jodi moi nijor dissent to koboi noaru. So dissent is the lifeline of the democracy. It's the spirit of the democracy. Without having dissent, no person is truly free. So question to apni core and crux to etu likhibo lagisile. Now it depends on you whether you have included the article. Jodi apni case kita likha na, if you have not written Bhima Goregaon case, if you have not written the whole context of the right to dissent, then marks katibo. This was the problem I have seen. Mu content writer hokolor yateo I only distinguish is maximum of them did not write about the Bhima Goregaon case. They did not write about the Jantar Mantar banning case. ये context to निलिखिले अपना right of dissent और बस्तु तो नुलाबो निखर के नहीं आएगा बोली जिन बिकॉय it will not come out. So आपने जितना ये question to target, if you have written this question, then you must have mentioned the cases, you must have mentioned the context, you must have written all this. कि how Supreme Court says it's a safety valve, how Supreme Court says that the pressure release no hoy, it will not lead to a good democracy, and democracy lifeline kenete hoy. Okay, and it's a very good 15 mark, a very good question this is. Let's move ahead. I think we are going to the final question. This is also factual. Mission Karma Yogi kotha hudise, analyze its effectiveness in bringing civil reforms. Etu para question, etu bahut heri nohoy aru bahut ami bahut besi bhabibo laga eku nai. So now what am I going to do? I am going to make it a little bit interactive. First I will write down our email ID. Our email ID is just simple SANDPAPER-Academy @gmail.com. क्या लिख लो मैं email ID तो यार दूटा question আছে যোনটোৰ answer মই লিখা নাই ইয়াৰ দুটা question আছে যোনটোৰ answer মই লিখা নাই I am going to keep the prompt দুটা question আছে যোনটোৰ answer মই লিখা নাছিলো গুছি গল whatever question কোন কিটা আছিলে ডাঙৰ হৈ গল সৰু হল নে yes yes eta hoy question number 14 of GS2. In the era of shifting geopolitical alliances, particularly after the COVID-19 pandemic, the influence of developed and developing countries' policies on India's strategic interests demands nuanced examination, analyze the multifaceted impact of the evolving foreign policy and political dynamics of major power on India's national security and region stability. Moi likhi anisilu kintu moi nako aru eta question ase jonto question number 3 hoy I will write it down. I will show you, not write it down. But go question number 3 what ase India's participation in global agreements on human rights reflects its commitment to promoting a just and equitable world order. Basically, the theme of both the question is the same. Discuss this statement with reference to India's involvement in international agreements. So, that is about international dealing. Jondo amar like you know international relation to kotha hudise ayat hudise India's involvement in international agreement. I am asking you when hokol student likhise teoloke likhibo bisarile likhibo pare but whoever is new have not like you know attempted the mains I request you ki apnaloke question number 3 and question number 14 amak likhi pathaok to SANDPAPER-Academy @gmail.com. আমি আপোনালোকক এটা 1-to-1 analysis কৰি দিম কি আপোনাৰ answer writing to কেনেকুৱা হৈ আছে because I can guarantee as of today we provide the best mains answer writing baki bu to best hai but the best mains oriented guidance that you can get in anywhere else. So try us, write down the questions, send it to us and we will give you 1-to-1 on what should have been the case and what was not in the case. Okay, so I think this is it and we will meet you tomorrow about 7:38 enuka time hoy for the GS3 and GS5 analysis. And till then, like, share, subscribe to Sandpaper and our admissions are open. If you like our teaching, do come to our offline center in Zuro and we'll see you in the center. See you in the academy. Thank you.